Commissioners Weipert,
I'm here.
Markham,
Here.
Miller,
Present.
Robin,
Present.
Long, Biz,
Present.
Smith Charles is absent with notice, Johnson,
Present.
Chair is well.
Long had notice too. She communicated to Chris, or to Yolanda and me by text today that she's sick. So
Oh, okay.
she won't be at
So
either meeting
So
today.
Long is absent with notice, thank you for that.
Please that COVID, I heard it's going around.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Folks, I was listening to the news this morning and they were talking about how this whole generation of military recruits was born after 9/11. This is the last government meeting I have until 9/11. I was in first grade. My sister does not remember it at all. So just like throughout this next week, as we celebrate and commemorate 9/11, I would just ask that you share in earnest your memories. I very vividly remember it, but there are so many new Michiganders, well, not even new anymore, 22 years old, who were born after 9/11. So share those stories. It's a big day. Anyway, Commissioner Weipert, would you kindly lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Gladly.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America
and
to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes dated August 9th, 2023, moved by Commissioner Miller, seconded by Commissioner Markham. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have that one. I would now entertain a motion to approve today's agenda. Moved by Commissioner Miller, seconded by Commissioner Markham. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. And the agenda is approved. We'll now move into public comment number 1. Anyone from the public wishing to address this committee on any item on the agenda? All right, seeing none, we'll move on then. We've got several communications here, folks. These are all received in file, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Do we want to group them or do you want to do them one at a time?
If I may, I believe there's a calculation error in 7C. If you open up and open a second Q2 report. See that? Table 1. The 2 columns on the right, they're totaled. I believe those should be averaged because it's per passenger and per operating cost per vehicle mile. That shouldn't be a total. Small error, but
Oh, the total
yeah,
of that
the total
copy,
at the bottom, it should be averages.
That is a really good catch. How do we fix that?
For all of those of you who think the commissioners don't read the packets.
I definitely did not see that when I looked at this.
Being an engineering guy.
I was gonna say,
It didn't stand out to me right away, I just.
I've been taking a math class since high school. Should we amend this? What would you like to do?
I'd just like to reach out to, I think, yeah, Eli authored it, so if you could just maybe put a correction in the.
Okay.
This is received files.
Okay. Good. Cool. All right, I would entertain a motion to receive and file all 4 items. If not, go ahead, Commissioner Miller, is there a second for that?
I support it.
Commissioner Weipert, could you please pump that vote?
Sure.
Oops. Miller. Mr. Chair, you have 6 yeas, 0 nays.
Awesome, thank you very much. Move on to our regular agenda. I would entertain a motion to recommend to the board agenda item A, facilities, maintenance and operations, Hooker DeJong Incorporated, contract number 8185 extension. Moved by Commissioner Miller, seconded by Commissioner Markham. Joe Murphy, welcome to the front of the table. Floor is yours.
Good morning, Commissioners. This is a contract extension request for Hooker DeJong. We worked with purchasing to figure out what the best way to do this because we want to mirror this contract up with the big CIP project that I'll be presenting next. So that's really what it is. The company's been doing an outstanding job for us over the years on the engineering service that they're providing. Minimal price increases that were included in there was $5 an hour over the next 3 years. So it's just to mirror up those two contracts because it was over a 5-year period.
Questions, comments, concerns?
For me.
No? There's a motion on the table. Madam Clerk, would you please prompt that vote? I always want to say when you first call.
Means the same thing.
It
It
does.
does.
I said
All
that
right, well, then I'm
yesterday.
just gonna start saying that because it feels so much better.
I agree.
I did not, mine never came up.
Oh, okay,
Well, I'm an I.
Johnson?
Yes.
okay. Strange. Okay, so you have 6 yeas, 0 nays.
Awesome, thank you very much. And moving on to agenda item B, facilities maintenance and operations, building management system replacement project 7th phase. I would entertain a motion to recommend to finance.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Rahman, seconded by Commissioner Spiz. Hello again.
This is every year about this time I come in for another phase of this project. This is phase 7. I've been very successful with the replacement of the 35-year-old antiquated building management system. Wrapping up the courthouse and moving to the jail. That's what the plan is. As part of our CIP, which has $600,000 identified for this project. $520,000 of that is materials and installation, $70,000 for engineering services, and $10,000 for miscellaneous ownership expenses, which could be electrical or stuff that our staff would have to do.
Questions, comments,
I do.
concerns? Commissioner.
General question, you may not have an answer for me, but it says we're expecting a 10 to 20% improvement in efficiency. How do we calculate that?
We can see that through the fine tuning of the run times on our equipment, our fans that we have, start times. There's some optimum start-stop programming and some of the, new software that fine tunes the efficiencies of those equipment, especially when we're like replacing new equipments. We're gonna have, we just came last week for the air handler units, right? So now we got new equipment with new controls so they can really fine tune those efficiencies on those equipment.
Is that something we track or plan to track in the future to see, are we
We-
getting our bang for our buck? We're estimating 10 to 20%. We kind of had this discussion yesterday about reports and stuff, so it's kind of why I'm asking.
We do,
Track this
the
stuff, so-
new system does have the ability to track KWH per site, so it's kind of site specific.
But from a KPI perspective, if we don't have a baseline to start with, which is today, how would we know?
Oh, we have-
How would we know we get a 10 to 20%?
So we know the historical usage of this building, we have those going back, so,
On KWH we do?
yes,
So we can calculate it if we so choose.
yes.
Awesome, thank you.
And Commissioner, to
Thank you.
Oh, go ahead.
If that's your music, that's your.
I was gonna say, that's
It's
like,
like your
we
baseball
like,
come
we
up
make it a
music.
grand entrance. I just wanted to mention that, as far that, our department's KPIs, right, one of our headline KPIs is, tracking our energy use.
Good.
So, we do, like Joe said, we have, baseline data, we have data for, I don't know how many prior years, but, it's something that we're gonna be tracking and reporting on internally to the executive team, like on an annual basis.
I thank you for that. Just drives another question. Is that something we're tracking from a sustainability perspective? So assuming we have goals, building by building, to drive down our energy usage, right?
Yeah.
So does this 10 to 20% fall within that goal?
So really this could be a very long discussion.
I know.
I'll make it brief and hopefully it answers your question. If not, I'd be happy to speak afterwards. But, really the reduction in energy use as well as, moving to electric vehicles, non-combustible vehicles, all really rolls up to our carbon footprint. Right, what impact we're having on the environment. So yes, to your question, right? We're tracking it all against sustainability.
Okay.
I
I think you answered my
could
question.
go. I'm pausing because I could go on and on and go on tangents, but But that would be the shorter.
I'm okay for now.
Okay, Commissioner Miller.
Thank you, I appreciate it. I know these systems because we have, in my other job, people in the field that use these systems and they do track great numbers that you never think they track for, even ones that you would lose as normal, right? As Commissioner Spiz is talking about. My question is this system here, because I know systems change all the time, is there upgradable options to the system, or is it like a replacement when this one's obsolete?
Out there, it's upgradable. This, when we identified the system, we went with the state of the art at the time that gave us most flexibility to upgrade either software or hardware and to allow multiple vendors to be able to access the system and maintain it if we need to.
Okay, when you, so that brings up a question, is letting vendors into our system, is there a way that it's only temporary? So they don't have full access? Let's say if a vendor we don't use anymore, they still have access to our system. Is that something that we
Yeah, they
can
could be
control?
they'd be locked out.
Okay, perfect. And then the other question is, what's the difference of cost from when this project was projected till now that it's being done? 'Cause I know, labor's changed, equipment's changed.
In the first, Steve, correct me if I'm wrong, the first 5 years, we didn't have any price increases to the project. It was all locked in.
Right, I remember that,
Vendors
yes.
all held their prices. So I think we had a minimal increase on the one contract. I don't quite remember what that number
Both our
was.
design and engineering company, modest increase, just over the last couple of years of $5 increments. And then our implementer the same. It's cheap.
All right, appreciate it. Yeah, 'cause I remember that there was a sunset on we had 5 years, and after that we were kind of open to the market, which is reality. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Robin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was just wondering, so this is phase 7. I wanted to get an idea of kind of what our timeline is overall. Like, how many phases are there and what is our?
I think the original plan was 10 to 15 years to do the whole county campus. Right now, we've wrote the resolution for the contracts for 3, because that's gonna get us to finish up the courthouse. And then the next big building will be the jail, which is probably gonna take 2 years to do. And then that allows us to reevaluate where we are with the campus too. What buildings are gonna be here, what buildings aren't gonna be here, do we need to do something down Pontiac? That would put us, after these 2 buildings, we're at 23, 24 buildings complete. And some of the smaller buildings, might not even need a system or a tweak.
Okay, perfect. All right, thank you.
Yeah, I'd asked, we had a pre-meeting on this about, we got the new buildings in Pontiac, but we're pretty sure the courts and the jail are not working. I'm not moving, so.
As far as I know.
Pretty sure that's going to stretch, you never
I mean,
know.
I don't think you move the jail, and I don't think you move the court,
We
so.
should build a new one.
So this is, we got phase 7 here, so this is a pretty sure thing. Needs to be done, and that's part of the biggest.
That was actually planned for a reason, so that when we got to these bigger buildings with a lot of operations going on there, that the teams that were doing that work were efficient and not to disrupt business plans. So we're work out all the bugs on some of the smaller buildings, and then when we get these bigger buildings, hammer through it quickly.
Awesome. Commissioner Markham, what do you think? No?
I don't have any questions.
All right. You're the last one, so I figured I would.
Yeah, no, well, thanks for asking.
Yeah, anything else, anyone? Awesome, there's a motion on the floor, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll? Yeah, perfect, yes, that's what I mean.
She knows.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, you have 6 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you very much, thank you. Moving on to item C, Facilities Management Joint Project Agreement with the United States Department of Commerce for the use of space located in Annex 1 office building. I would entertain a motion to recommend to the board. Commissioner Spiz, seconded by Commissioner Markham. Hello, team.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Floor is yours.
Bonjour. We have a renewal of JPA. It's a JPA, but the Department of Commerce calls it a JPA. It's really a lease. So this has been a lease that has been on campus for a long time. And I have Jennifer Mall from Department of Commerce and Jean Brode from Department Economic Development to give you more details on what they do. So my part is just the lease. Every year the Department of Commerce has to renew this lease. We renew it with them. It's only 1 year. So That's all they're allowed to do. Now, it might be kind of strange because we're renewing this for 1 year and it's expiring in 2 weeks. But going back, we, from COVID, we kind of didn't know where they were gonna be. With the space plan, we didn't know where they're gonna be. We had them in another spot in the north building of health, and then that didn't work out. So finally we said, well, we need to get you set, and we'll just leave you where you're at, but we'll reduce the footprint in that annex. So that's what we did, and that's what this space results in. So the footprint of the floor plan you see on the exhibit, that gives you an idea of what's going on. This time, one of the main differences is that there's a budget that goes with this, and it's always been in kind. In this year, we're finally gonna be charging them, so they're paying for the building costs based on the building costs for annex, which they're fine with, and that's in that budget too. So what we're asking is to renew and approve this JPA. They've already signed it, and we can get it signed and get them going. Also, because it's a fiscal year calendar for this lease, we already have the next one in queue. So we'll bring it back to you shortly and get them set for the whole year, and we're good with that. The other thing that we added is that because facilities doesn't know where, how the space is gonna be used, we have a termination clause where we can ask them, to move and not have the whole year go out. So they've agreed to that. So I'd like to get approval of this JPA. I'm gonna bring back another JPA shortly with pretty much the same terms, and will look the same. So if there's any questions, we wanted to bring the full team here so you could get an understanding of what they do, because it's pretty cool what they do. And I'll turn it over to Jennifer and maybe Jean first.
Yeah. I just wanted to be here to let you know why this relationship has been beneficial to the county. So the county's offered space to the Department of Commerce Expert Assistance Center for it's over 25 years, right? I personally worked with Jennifer probably most of that time, one way or the other in various areas. So I know the value that her office offers. They provide subject matter specialists that can help our county's companies grow and export overseas. So it's their primary focus over the years has been exporting. However, in recent years, basically since I came to the county 2.5 years ago, we've expanded that relationship, and so now we're using them to help out with foreign direct investment as well. So last year, Jennifer's office helped us as we set up 2 international events, one in Sweden that the county executive went to, and another in Montreal. And together we generated about over 50 vetted leads for investment. So these have been turned out very cost-effective programs, and our relationship with having this center right here has been very helpful. So we'll look for other opportunities as well. So at the moment, we're meeting about once a month with the team to understand what the opportunities are both for our companies to help them grow here as well as the FDI side of it. So we value the relationship, and I think the fact that her office has been here in the county, even though they cover half of the state of Michigan, the big bulk of their clients are really right here. So that's about Jennifer.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Mall. I'm the director for the U.S. Commercial Service in East Michigan. As Jean mentioned, we're part of the Department of Commerce, this International Trade Administration. Our primary mission is to help U.S. businesses, and in our case, Michigan businesses, export. We provide export assistance, the goal being to increase their international sales and create jobs here in Michigan. We have 3 offices in Michigan. The one here co-located with Oakland County. We have one co-located with Techtown in Detroit, and we have one co-located with the Van Andel Global Trade Center at Grand Valley State University. So we really, really value these partnerships and what we call these joint project agreements. We have about 40 of them across the country, and that number is growing. And we offer counseling, we offer market research, we offer tailored services like those we've offered to Oakland County for investment promotion. We call them single location promotional events. And this is what Jean and her team have been taking advantage of to promote investment in Oakland County. The thing that really makes us special, I think, is that we have offices in US embassies and consulates in over 80 countries across the world. So our US Department of Commerce staff work hand in hand with the State Department staff in these embassies and consulates. They make up the the commercial sections rather of these embassies and consulates, and their primary mission is to promote investment in the United States and to help our companies make inroads into their markets and increase sales. So, I think what we do is really cool, really valuable. We actually track concrete results. We track successes. When companies enlist for our assistance, they know that we're going to want to keep tabs so that we can demonstrate that we can achieve, and we do achieve, concrete results to Congress specifically. So this is a great relationship that we really value and have for, like Jean said, 25 years. And we're happy to move forward paying for space, and we're happy to be flexible if and when you need us to get out of the annex. We're just happy to be here and partner with Oakland County.
Thank you very much. I worked at Embassy Madrid for a hot second with State, and I will say our commerce section at that embassy was fantastic, and they were really focused on that. And I will give a lot of kudos to the Commerce Department for engaging in some national diplomacy like this. That is something that the State Department doesn't do, but should do a lot more of. So thank you very much just for being here outside the Beltway. My only question, Chair's prerogative, is I would love to kick them out of the city of Waterford. Tell me, and I don't really know who I'm aiming this at, but like Ottawa Tower is 70% full and it's already other intergovernmental offices. When can we let our lovely colleagues from Commerce bump over there, if that's even the thought?
Can't answer that
Trick
right now.
question.
Okay.
If you're asking specifically about the timing,
I mean, I'm sure 1 year is, I guess I'm wondering, like, should we be thinking about that, or is that space not primed for anything yet? Specifically Ottawa, I understand the other one, but.
yeah, it's if you're asking if it's primed for people to move in, I'm not sure if it's primed. It maybe is available, but there's so much that we need to sort out, right? Like Paul mentioned, there's a clause in there that says if we need to move people around, we need to move people around. Within the next few weeks, we're like, you can imagine, like our schedules right now are probably 5 meetings a day for the next several weeks just on what's gonna happen in downtown Pontiac and trying to figure out, the shell game of where everyone is gonna go. So, that idea is, will be considered, but I can't tell you who's going where right now and when any of that's gonna happen, but we should know fairly soon.
Okay, I knew that shell game was happening, and we're just not watching it, so we're sitting on pins and needles to hear what shell wins. But that's all I have. Anyone else? Commissioner Rahman.
Thank you. So it sounds like a great partnership. Everything you said makes sense to me, and I'm fully in support of it. I guess the one clarification point I had is you mentioned this is the first time we're gonna be collecting rent. Did I hear that correctly, or?
Yeah.
And I guess what changed, or why is that the case when we've had this relationship for 25 years is part one. And then part two is I was just looking at the rent amount, and I don't know if it's just sort of a formality, or if you break it out, I mean, $7,500 over a year is probably less than anybody pays in rent. So I was just kind of curious on all of that.
Yeah, sure. The decision that I understand is that administration wants to get away from zero leases or dollar leases. So that's number one. And then what we're allowed to do, from what I'm told, is that the county doesn't make a profit on a lease, they charge the building cost. So the building cost for that Annex 1 building is $11.84 a square foot times their 636 square foot, that's how we get the number.
But my only question too then is, I think you said $36,000 in janitorial, building maintenance, security, groundwork, parking, utilities, yada yada. Are we getting that cost back, or are we just paying that as sort of the cost of doing business and this partnership?
Well, those are they're like kind numbers. Maybe you can explain the budget a little more.
So the way that we structure budgets in the JPAs, as I understand them, and I work through our National Field Support team, who is sort of better and more well-versed at talking through the budgets, but basically, we need to both be contributing equally as partners, and so it ends up that if we're paying for space, then the partner ends up contributing more in kind than we do. So basically, we work with the partner to come up with a list of reasonable in-kind expenses to show that we are equal in terms of dollar amount, for lack of a better term, with these agreements. So these are categories that can be adjusted by Oakland County moving forward. The budget is something that we can absolutely make changes to if there's any discomfort with that. We just need to come out looking fairly equal, or our general counsel's office will not approve. So these were categories that have been in the JPA for quite some time. I think before paying for actual space, we were paying a nominal fee for phones only, and that might be that dollar lease sort of terminology that you were using. But the older JPAs that I have on record show us just paying for the phones, and then everything else was in kind. So in this case, we are paying for the space. So Oakland County would come up with other categories, as we have here, that you're offering to us in kind, or where we might be getting a quote unquote deal because you're only charging such a small amount for the physical space.
So, and maybe I'm just not understanding, I appreciate what you're saying, but when you're saying that it's, $7,000 in rent and $36,000 in kind, maybe I'm the only one not understanding, but you're saying that's sort of where they balance, or?
No, what I'm saying is that we also offer in kind as well.
Okay.
So if you look at the budget, on our side, we have what we're paying.
Right.
And then we also have in-kind expenses, which would be staff time, working with Oakland County, which would be travel. We sent one of our staff members to Montreal to support an aerospace event where Oakland County companies were participating. What I'm saying is that the Oakland County number has to be comparable to our number.
What your number is, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that is the primary concern, at least internally for us, when our general counsel's office looks at these agreements. So as we begin to pay for space, the in-kind numbers kind of bump up.
Got it, okay.
But we want you to be comfortable with them, and I want to make sure that you all are aware that that is one area that we can work with to be sure that you're comfortable, and we can revise moving forward.
Gotcha.
As long as the two sides come out about equal, we're good.
Perfect. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Thank you. Anything else?
No? There's a motion on the table. Madam Clerk, would you please call roll?
I haven't received any.
Okay,
Interesting.
yes, okay. Sure, you have 68, 78?
Awesome, thank you very much, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to our second public comment. Anyone from the public wishing to address the Economic Development and Infrastructure Committee on anything they would like to talk about? That was easy. Anything else from the group? Any other business? any announcements?
I can tell you where I was at on 9/11.
Sure.
I was at Monroe Powerhouse, and it was actually probably I don't really get scared of stuff like that, but there was a plane loose around that area and the nuke plant's right up the road, so we all left the job site. That was probably, yeah, I remember that like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
Cause it was, you heard it and you're like, there's no way, right? And everybody went to their trailers and turned the TV on and yeah.
Thanks for sharing that.
I was going golfing and the person I was golfing with called me up and said, have you seen the TV today? And I said, no, and I turned it on. We decided to go golfing anyway because we couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
You know, so what are you gonna do? So the two of us just went off and golfed and talked, and that's my vision of that morning, is that beautiful sunny day, you know? So, yeah, it was not.
It is weird. I remember how beautiful that day was. And I remember acknowledging that it was beautiful on my way to school, again, first grade, right? So they had us do little like day by day journal entry things, and literally my entry for that day is the sky was really pretty. And I thought that that was a unique experience until I kept hearing other people talk about how beautiful the day was. And if you haven't been at the 9/11 Memorial Museum in New York City, my favorite installation is this massive wall in the basement, and some artists spent like 1,000 days trying to recreate the color of the sky by memory, and it's just all these beautiful shades of blue. It's an amazing, I don't know. Anyway, I'll adjourn if you guys want to. Adjourning at 10:09.